Hi, good evening, and welcome to my live stream. Fight CPS and stop taking our children. I'm your host, Bob Pace, and it's a warm welcome because you're dealing with a very unpleasant matter. Somehow you're involved, whether your children were taken from you or whether you're in trouble with CPS. I don't know. All of you have different backgrounds, but one thing I have in common with the over 2,000 people I've talked to close to 2,300 people from 23 countries, is economically we're in hard times. What I mean by that, we don't have money to hire an attorney, and that's what it needs to fight CPS. A real attorney that's trained and qualified. And I'll talk more about that shortly, but I want to go over a couple things. First of all, CPS is an agency that's gone rogue in many areas. And it is a hard agency to deal with. It's very hard to navigate. I equate fighting CPS as like open heart surgery. If you can imagine what open heart surgery is, you're going to get a professional doctor. And what I mean by that is that you need a professional in your corner to fight for you. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm a loving father and a husband. I've helped raise 6 children. I have 42 years of marriage experience. I have over 60 years of life skills that I can share with you and help you out. There's lots of things you'll need to know about CPS, and I have all kinds of things. Now, you find me on every night at 7 p.m. That's Monday through Sunday. And um, during the weekdays, I'm on at 10 a.m. during the weekdays and 8 a.m. on the weekends. And those times are all Pacific Standard Time, the West Coast of California. And if you don't know your time zone, if you're on the East Coast, you're 3 hours ahead of me. If you're in England, you're 8 hours ahead of me. If you're in Europe, you're 9 hours. Africa, you're 9 hours, etc. But anyway, I've been doing this regularly now for 21 months, week after week, month after month, year after year. I've not missed a day of my show. I have different times occasionally, especially in the football season. On Friday nights, I have a football team that I go to see their games every night, especially my son played and won 2 national championships. So I will usually start my show time earlier than 7 p.m. on Fridays. I try to start it like at 4 o'clock so that I have enough time to get to the game and park and everything, or 3 o'clock if I can do that. So anyway, tonight I hope y'all will either text me a message or call in or be a guest on my show. I hope there's some interaction. As I say, this live stream is interactive. Now, one of the things you can do right now is you can send me a text message. Now, to send a text message, all you have to do is um, make a question or a comment about CPS. Please state your first name, your city or county, state, and of course, you're from another country. Also, please tell me about your CPS case from the beginning to where you're at. Now, some of these countries, um, these countries include Indonesia, Bangladesh, India, the Middle East, at Saudi Arabia and Libya, then over to Africa, to Liberia, to Sudan, to the Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Mozambique, and several of the provinces in South Africa. Then up to Europe, we have the United Kingdom, England, Scotland, and Wales. And then we have the countries Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond in North America, we have Canada and its provinces. The United States and all 50 states have called in, including Washington, D.C. Then south of the border, Mexico. Then further south in South America, north of Brazil, on the East Coast, Grenada. Then across the South Pacific to New Zealand, and then to the land down under Australia and its states. So it's a well representation of people I've had come in here and talk, and I'd love to share them. This morning I was sharing a lot of things with people this morning, and it is hard. It is hard what you're going through. I too was a victim of CPS. I had my children illegally taken and put into foster care where they were hurt and abused. They alienated my children. CPS did everything they could humanly possible to try to destroy me. It was hard. Unfortunately, I lost my dream job through no fault of my own when I was 60 years old in 2010. And I immediately set out to look for work. But at age 60, it's kind of hard. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to me, some people are calling the Orange County Child Protection Service in California from Ohio and stating false facts about me and my wife. I did not know who these people were. You see, when the lay people call in or the professional people that call in, you never know who they are. And that's something that's got to be changed. Lay people are about wrong 99% of the time. And professional people, mandated reporters, are wrong about 50% of the time. Studies have shown that, and it's terrible. The lay people want to retaliate or alienate your children from you. And so it was my in-laws, my wife's mother, father, 3 sisters, and a brother were calling up and wasting the government's time chasing down something that wasn't happening. They came to my home. I showed them my home. I showed them where I did my food prep. I showed the children's bedrooms and bathrooms. And, I was very open. And this went on for 5 years. They couldn't find anything. Suddenly they got frustrated and they got the help of a police to track me down and open my home among all these people they recruited. They recruited 5 firemen, 3 social workers, 2 uniformed policemen, 2 code enforcement, and of course the detective that tracked me down. I should never have let them in my home. I should never have talked to them. That was the mistakes that I made. So my rule number 3 says you never talk to social workers or police. And if you happen to encounter them outside, you are very pleasantly, talk to them, but tell them this very simple question. Is this regarding a legal matter? If they say yes, They said I need to have my attorney present. That is my constitutional right. I'll get a hold of my attorney and get back to you. Please give me your number and name and everything, and cross-reference their badges to make sure they're telling the truth. That way you don't have to sit and talk to them, because if you do, they'll use it against you. If you live in the house, they seem to get permission then to search your house and to take your child. Your child may not be in danger. My 3 children were all in school at the time they wanted to take my children. They weren't in danger. They never were. It's a ruse. It's a ruse so they get $20,000 per child per month for taking them in. And if they're special needs, they get a special $10,000 on top of the 20 per month. And if they get adopted into foster care, President Bill Clinton signed into law that basically said there's a reward to the child protection system that gets children adopted into foster care than instead of family reunification. It's a $35,000 bonus paid from the federal government. So CPS is corrupt in many places. It's a $1 trillion business, not million, not billion, but trillions of dollars they generate from the federal government. Right now, DOJ is investigating social service, which CPS is a part of. You see, CPS, the Child Protection System, started in 1962. And it wasn't in 1974 when they had any laws to govern CPS. The goal was originally to protect our children from neglect and abuse and to do family reunification, because studies have shown the best parents are the biological parents. The best parents are the biological parents. Now, besides, texting a message, you can also be a guest on my live stream. All you have to do is email Grace, my show producer, grace@vincentwdavis.com. And you can pick one of my shows, a Friday night show, a Monday show. I have 14 shows. So all you do is say the evening or morning and one day of the week. And she'll send you a link to StreamYard that will get you on to use YouTube. And you'll be able to join me and discuss and answer questions and so forth. She also will go over the rules. They also will go over the rules. Now, another thing you can do is to call in. My phone number is live. It's 626-698-0990. So my number's up, and I'd love to have you call in, because if you call in or on my guest, you get a free 15-minute private consultation with my attorney, Vincent W. Davis. Now, he's the real deal. He is schooled and educated and licensed in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. He's been practicing fighting CPS for 39 years, and he's gotten back thousands of children. He's a trial attorney. As a child, he once was in foster care himself, so he knows about the foster system. He also is a civil rights attorney. If your case is done and closed, he will help you sue CPS, and you can win millions of dollars. He's won millions of dollars from CPS violating your constitution or your civil rights. It happens all the time, the stories I hear from people. Let's see who's come in. Right now, I don't think we have anybody in the room yet. Oh, wait, we have somebody here. A long message. Wow. Good evening, Raquel Ramirez. I can't have that kind of language on the show. Yeah, I got to, this is not the place for that kind of language. Rachel Ramirez, You can't use that language on here. I'll get in a lot of trouble. You don't want to open it up talking that way. And this is, as I say, a show that has listeners on there. So I apologize. I told you how to text a message. Basically, it's a message about CPS. It isn't a message about how someone said something or did something. It's either a comment or a question or a story you want to tell. Now, I'm sorry that Raquel Ramirez said, put that on to all my people in this broadcast. I do apologize. This isn't the forum. This isn't the place. And you certainly do not get your children back talking that way. There's a proper way you have to work on, and this is the legal system. You have to have proper protocol, no profanity, and it's very, very, very important. Rachel Ramirez. I have no idea where you're from because you didn't tell me your name of your city or county or the state where you're from or the country. You may be from another country for all I know. And I do apologize to my listeners about this outbreak. Now, I'm here to help people that want to help. If you want to be mean and nasty and profanity, this isn't the place for it. There's too many good people that come here. There's too many good people. All right. We had an outbreak in the room, and that's where there's a long pause. I'm trying to regroup here. It's just really hard. Been doing the show for this many months, 21 months, and then have an outbreak if someone sits there and starts off with that profanity. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I'm a loving father and a husband. I have 42 years of marriage and helped raise 6 children. My case was horrifying because they removed 3 of my children. Like a fool, they said, we need to take your children. I said, why? They wouldn't give me an answer. They were safe, they're in school. So they went to school and it traumatized my older children. The one that was 14, the other one that was uh, 12. Anyway, it was hard. It was really, 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 really hard. So my 9-year-old and 15-year-old and my 12-year-old were put into foster care, and they had a terrible experience. They had a terrible experience, and that's the last time I saw my daughter, by the way. Her birthday was this month on the 9th of July. She turned 23, and I've not seen her in 11 years. I've not held her in 11 years. You know how hard that is. That is the hardest thing to do. That is wrong. That is wrong to deprive a father of his daughter, her heritage. Now I'm still being hurt today. Every day I can't contact my daughter is a violation. Every day her stolen identity remains in effect is a new crime. Every day these fake documents exist on the ongoing fraud. Every day you deny your rights as a father is a fresh harm. This is called continued violations. The law meaning this crime never stopped. It never happened every single day. The law is on my side. But anyway, I need to file a grievance. It is hard. It is hard. I hurt so much in there. Because what the social worker did was the worst thing they could always do. They retaliated. Now, our social worker was very young and naive in her early 20s. She didn't even have a college education, she didn't even have a high school education, and she wasn't properly trained to work with families. But she was caught committing perjury in court by my attorney, Vincent W. Davis, who caught her lying on the stand about how good these parents were about that wanted to adopt her daughter. They're my wife's sister and husband. And he was asking questions, cross-examining the social worker. And the social worker blatantly told lies. He asked her, was there any domestic violence? No. What kind of parents are these? Great, wholesome parents. And then he kind of scratched his head and pulled open a folder and started reading police reports. 30 of them, one by one, of domestic violence. And it wasn't just yelling, it was physical. And these were the parents that my daughter was going to be placed in. And the social worker was so embarrassed because we caught her in her lie. She didn't do a very thorough investigation. But she did revenge. She went and told her daughter and coached her daughter along with Casa and told her daughter what to do to emancipate from your parents, divorce your mom, your dad, divorce your siblings, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles and cousins, divorce the whole family, change your complete name. She had a beautiful middle name called Hanalei. And then she was supposed to seal her birth certificate and get a new birth certificate with a new social security card. And she was double using my social security card with the funds for my retirement. That went on to the age of 18. That's 6 years. 6 years that she was double dipping from her retirement, the tune of $2,000 a month. And she wasn't getting the money. It was the foster parents that were, who were very wealthy to begin with. But they're raking an additional $2,000 from money that I had worked hard that's been taxed on and supposed to come back to me in form of retirement. The reason why I was getting additional help from social services because when you're an elderly person and you have children under the age of 18, they want to help you with additional funding from your social security. It is a hard thing. It's a hard thing to swallow. It is really a hard thing to swallow. Okay, well, it seems like we're having one of those nights where not too many people want to talk. And the only person I had tonight was somebody that wanted to spout off with bad language and how terrible things are. And I know it is. But I want to help you. In order to get help, you need to tell me what you need. If there's a specific subject you want to talk on or what, I can help you. Right now, we're hoping to have some people come in, and I hope they do. I'm being very patient and waiting. Tonight may be a bad night for whatever reason. There are days like this, mornings or the nights, and sometimes I have nobody show up or come in the room. Now, I have a half an hour left of my live stream. My phone number's up, and so I'd love to take any phone calls in. We got one person dropped in, and how are you tonight? And if you want to talk to me, that would be great. That would be great. Maybe there's a text message you can write me. Oh, we just had suddenly a bunch of people come in. Thank God. No, I'm not muted. I stopped talking because for the last 30 minutes, no one was saying anything. I had one person come in that said some foul language and everything. The name was Rachel Ramirez. But hi, Deidre, and good evening. And thank you for showing support. Thank you for being in here. She's from Orange County, California. I haven't talked to her in a while. There's Bartley from Montana. Welcome, Bartley. It's good to see you, Bartley. It's so good to see you. And Deidre says, my next show is tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Okay, all you listeners out there, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Deidre Payne will have a show on at 5 p.m. That's 2 hours before my show. So go and watch her. And thank you, Deidre, for telling the good work. Deidre, question: do you ever have time that sometimes there's nobody in the room? And that was the case tonight. Bartley says, I'll replace my phone tomorrow. I want to call in and give you an update. Oh, I'd love so much to hear from you, Bartley. I look forward to your call tomorrow. And again, Deidre, I'm not muted. I just said stop talking. That's what I did. So I'm waiting for a reaction. I'm waiting for someone to ask me a question, share a comment, or have me talk about a certain subject matter. Have me talk about a certain subject matter. I think, Deidre, you know what I mean when you suddenly have quietness in the room. It is hard. It's hard for me to talk and talk and talk. It's also been going on a long time. Over 2,000 live streams I've done. And I've talked to close to 3,000 people. And that's 21 months of 2 live streams a day continuously. So, Bartley, is there any questions or update you'd like to share with the listeners? Or Deidre, is there something you'd like me to talk about that would help you or anybody else in this room? Okay, Deidre, I'm waiting. You said yes. All right. Um, we got some people in the room, but so far there's no questions. I guess I can talk about my rules. I always seem to talk about them. Rule number 1, you need to get an attorney, a real attorney, not a court appointed attorney or public defender. CPS hopes you take on their public defender or court appointed attorney because you'll lose your case. They control those attorneys. Those attorneys are not trained or schooled in the area of juvenile law, family law, or dependency law. They won't fight because they're so saddened or saddled with 30 to 100 cases. They don't have time to fight. So it's very important to get a real attorney, and I have one. His name is Vincent W. Davis. Right now, he's $500 an hour, and in LA County, his retainer is approximately $5,000. Retainers are determined by the complexity of the case and how long the case has been going on. I've given quotes out in Georgia and Atlanta for 125. I've also given out quotes in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for 125. The reason why the retainers are bigger in other states is that Vincent has to fly there. He has to get ground transportation. He has to have accommodations and food. Plus, he's got to buy the license you're going to practice in that state. Most people don't keep all the licenses of all the states. That's really expensive. That could be something like $100,000. And I think that $100,000 could be used for something else. But you do need to get 3 quotes, and I'm giving you 1 quote already, Vincent W. Davis. For 39 years, he's been fighting CPS and getting children back. He is a trial attorney. He is trained, educated, and licensed in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. He's a real fighter. He once was a foster kid himself. Furthermore, he's done civil lawsuits where he's won millions of dollars back from CPS for suing them both in federal court and state court. So he's the real deal. He's the real deal. So when you get two other attorneys, you got Vincent Davis, you're going to have to ask all three attorneys to give you references. You need to check out their references. Then you got to, well, before you get the references, the first call you make with all the two other attorneys, not Vincent Davis, is you have to determine if they're the right mix for you. There are two very important questions. Question one is you ask them, are they a juvenile law, family law, dependency lawyer? And have they won cases against CPS? If the answer is yes to that first question, you're on the right road. The second question is going to be, have you ever done a lawsuit after the case is closed? Have you ever done a lawsuit against CPS and won either in state court or federal court and won money back? And again, if the answer is yes, you're on the road because Vincent satisfies both of them. He satisfies both of them. Then you're going to check out the references, get 3 apiece. That's 9 references you need to check out. And then you got to have your meeting and see if the chemistry is right and how much the retainer fee is going to be in the hourly fee. You don't have good chemistry, it does no good to hire them. And Bartley says, I replaced my phone. I want to call and give you an update. I know you told me earlier, so that's great. And thank you, Deidre, for your comment on the good work. I do try to. Now we're at standstill right now because no one's really asking me questioning, so I'm starting to talk about my rules. So that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is documentation. You need to document everything about your CPS case. You need a notebook, a huge notebook, 3-ring binder 6 inches thick to put all your documentation in. You may need several binders. Then you need to put in your table of contents so that it's organized. So you have one for whatever you need. And there's a really important document you need to put in there besides the court papers and your certificates of class completions and your drug test. You need to put in one that is called the timeline for incidents. Yes, it's a form you're going to create yourself. It's notebook paper. It's easy. You devote 3 lines to each incident. On your first line, you put the location or the phone number that you were talking about your incident. You put the date and time and the people involved. The second line is what the incident was about. You write on the second line a summary of what the incident was about. The third line is the outcome. And if you don't know the outcome, leave it blank, come back later and fill it out. But you should have one for every incident, whether it involves children, social services, the police, or the school, or anybody. And you write in that information, 3 lines per each incident. Because in a year's time, you're going to have a lot of incidents. It's going to fill up a dozen pages. But it'll be worth it because you're not going to remember everything. It's very hard to go back and remember what was said or talked about. So that's why you need to do this timeline documentation. Also, your documentation should have your certificates of completing classes or programs. It should also have all your drug tests. Anyway, it should have everything you can put in there to keep documentation on them. Now, rule number 3 is you do not let them in your home. Do not talk to them. Don't open your door. They're strangers. You were taught, hopefully, when you're real young, don't talk to strangers. Well, you don't want to open the door because you never know who's on the other side. It could be someone that wants to rob you, kill you, or mistakenly identity. You don't know. It's best that you back away from the door and be very quiet, and they will leave. They will leave after a period of time. Anyway, that rule number 3 also involves not opening the door. Your door is your castle. Excuse me, your house is your castle. The door is your drawbridge. It is up, and you don't want to let anybody in. If you talk to them, they'll use it against you. If you let them in your home, they will ransack the home and look for things, and they'll take your children. Now, you also have to instruct your family not to open the door. Tell them, do not open the door unless you know who it is. And you can have a special knock with your family members or a special ring. But too many people have been shot and killed by opening the door. Not only a CPS case, but a sheriff in Gainesville, Florida, went to a home of suspected domestic violence, and it was just a black young man talking to his fiance, and he had the wrong apartment. But he brought his gun out and shot the guy 5 times, and he died talking to his fiance on FaceTime. So I don't know what to tell you out there. I give you hundreds of examples of people being shot, killed, or what. Your kids are being taken. You don't need to do it. It's so easy. You just say, if this is a legal matter, I need my attorney involved. I will get back to you. Please give me your information, and I will get back to you. You be nice to them. If you be nice to them, they sometimes will not retaliate, but they do a lot of retaliation, like to use leverages. If you don't sign my plan, we're going to take your kids away for good. If you don't do this, the drug test. Anytime they want you to do a drug test, make sure you do one yourself, because they're doing bad drug tests. Their drug tests are awful. And that goes for testing of anything. That goes testing for anything. There's only 3 ways to get in your home. One is you allow the door to be open, they come in, either through you or a family member or whatever. Number 2, there's screaming and yelling, and it sounds like a child's in danger. They'll bust the door down and break in. And then 3, is they have a warrant. Now, a warrant is a legal piece of document if it's rightly a warrant. It will have the judge's signature and very detailed information on the warrant. They have the names of the people they're issuing the warrant to. If they were, they'll have their charges, neglect, or abuse. Also, that warrant will be signed by a judge and have a stamp. It's a special embossed stamp. They'll go through the lettering and where the signature is, make sure it's not forgery. Too many crooked warrants are out there that they've been copied and pasted and whatever. But I'm really I know I'm being really hard on you, but it's so important that you don't do anything. I did those same mistakes. I don't want you to do the same myself. You also got to watch medical trafficking, and that's where they live in the urgent cares emergency rooms, the social workers do, and they overhear something and they suddenly want to take you in for something that's not true. Just recently, a couple weeks ago, I had a parent whose daughter at 4 had her appendix removed that should not have been removed. That was at the urgency of a child protection worker. And that was wrong. I'm hoping to get some feedback to what I'm saying. I guess there is none. Okay, here's a question. Oh, Bartley like to hear about the motion 388. Okay, the motion 38 is a motion you can file, your attorney file. It has to be on legal paper. And you file it with the court and make sure the opposing counsel gets copies of the of the 388. And on there, you're requesting a court within 30 days because you have new evidence or you have something that was not brought up before. And so within 30 days, they have to have you back in court. So that's what a 388 is. And some states have it, some states don't. It's another form. Deidre's been going at this for 5 years. I didn't know that. I've been going for 15 years. Oh, I'm looking forward to your success story, Deidre Payne. Oh, I'm looking so forward to that. I know you do a lot of footwork. I know you well prepared. Your show is really good. I just started doing 2 shows a day because that's what Vincent Davis wanted. Now I have someone named Page is like Payne. I have a person named Save Page. I have a question regarding the safety plan and the legality of it. They're threatened me to involve emergency removal by a judge if I revoke the safety plan that they intimidated me from signing. First of all, Save Payne, I assume that's your daughter, but I like your first name and the location where you're calling from. Also, you have to be really careful about the use that as anything out there. Don't sign the safety plan, or if there's something on it you don't like, draw a line through it and sign it. You can still sign the safety plan, strike out the things you don't like. But you're right to have them talk to you about it because it is sometimes really bad and threatening there. They said your child was in danger. They said my kids in school were in danger. I know what you're feeling like, uh, Paige. Well, revoking a safety plan, they're going to take retaliation on you. You need an attorney. If you don't have an attorney, look at the safety plan as they say, strike out the things that are irrelevant or not part of it. They're going to try to hide a lot of stuff in there. Now, if you revoke the safety plan, they're going to try to keep your children. They're going to make your life horrible. They're corrupt. They're corrupt. You need to talk to an attorney. You need to talk to an attorney. My word of advice is on the safety plan, there's things you object to, draw a line through it, initial it, and then you can sign the safety plan. And then do what's on the plan. I know it's terrible eating crow, but it's a lot easier to eat crow than lose your children. Now I have about it's 8 o'clock, so my time is up. My show time goes to 8 o'clock, and I want to thank all of you that have come into this room to help make this show or help get answers. Bartley, I'm really hoping to talk to you tomorrow when you get your phone. Savage Paid, I have no idea where you're from. Be great if you tell me where you're at. But thank you for sharing your case. And then I have Bartley, I've already talked about. Deidre Payne. I'm so glad you're on my show. She has a show tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Watch her show, then watch mine at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. So Deidre is one of those people that do a live stream like me, and she knows a lot about what she's talking about. She knows a lot what she's talking about. Now, I did have a speaker early on that was using profanity. That was Rachel Ramirez, and I had to escort her off. But I do need to go. Do not give up on your child. Keep fighting for them. You will get your child back. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hang in there. Be strong. And God bless you. I'm now going to turn over for a short message from Vincent Davis. Good night. See you in the morning at 10 a.m.
vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last